Previously on Ballz.
Hi Dave, it's Ballz Radio here. Darren, John, Simon and Knox. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I've been better.
Yeah, I think your tone of voice sounds exactly, sort of reflects exactly what, it must have hit you like a hammer.
Yeah, it's devastating, to be honest.
All right, let's just quickly, before we carry on and just get reaction from you, just clarify, Dave, with Nedbank, just clarify your position with Nedbank and your involvement from a cycling point of view.
Yeah, so I'm part of the Nedbank Group Executive, and the area of businesses that I look after was involved in sponsoring Nedbank 360 Life cycling team.
Wow. And as we've just heard with John in the news, how did you guys, when did you guys find out, and, what happens from here?
Well, we were notified late yesterday afternoon, and obviously there's a process that gets followed with regards to the cyclist and the testing of the samples thereafter. But for us, as we said in our press release, we have absolutely zero tolerance towards the use of any form of banned substances or drugs. So we immediately suspended our cycling team, and whilst we've got no reason to suspect any of our other riders, the test result only really relates to one rider called David George.
Yeah.
And we've decided to temporarily suspend the entire team just until we can assess the matter further.
Have you spoken to David?
Yeah, I spoke to David for the first time this morning, but various contacts have been in touch with him during the course of the day.
All right. Anybody who, since cycling has kind of got this, been painted with this brush a while ago through some, bad eggs, and just year after year we hear more and more about this. Companies that put their money into cycling, do you have, even back then, did you sort of have doubts, or do you sit the guys down and lay down the law and do the whole questioning and say, listen guys, does anyone, think they might have been involved, or maybe by mistake, or, has this process all been followed already? Because, there's been some very nervous people going back a few years that still invested money in cycling, as great a sport as it is, with all the stuff that's gone down.
Well, we're involved in cycling in a number of levels. We're involved in developmental cycling, particularly in underprivileged communities. We're involved in sponsoring and hosting a number of events across the country where a lot of our clients or customers actually participate in, and that to a large extent those events support quite a lot of communities as well. And obviously we were involved in sponsoring this mountain bike pro team, and I guess we did two things. One is that we, and you can I guess get to know the individuals a lot better. And secondly, yes, we went through a very rigid due diligence in terms of insisting, that people were quite aware of what our standing was with regards to any form of misuse of drugs or any performance enhancing drugs. It's quite, our contract's quite simple. If you step across the barrier, if you come anywhere close to endangering or disappointing our brand, the contract ceases.
Do you have any idea how far back this goes? Are we talking about David when he was involved in the U.S. Postal Service team, or, are we talking more recently? How far back does it go when this was going on?
So I can only deal in fact. I can't deal in surmise.
Yeah.
And all I'm aware is that David tested positive for a out-of-competition test on the 29th of August. And that's the only facts and only information that we have, and we're not aware that he's ever tested positive prior to that. And obviously I think a lot of people will probably draw a parallel to him being involved in U.S. Postals in 1999. The only 2 points I make on that, and it's certainly not in any form of defense. One is that he was 19 years old, so he would have been a very junior member of the team. And secondly, if you actually do read Tyler Hamilton's book called The Secret Race, it really refers to doping being really restricted to people within Lance's inner circle, and quite honestly, a 19-year-old, no matter how much one would like to, the parallel would have been involved, I think.
Yeah. Look, a 19-year-old...
But that's not, to be honest, that's not for me to comment on.
Absolutely. Okay, Simon?
Is this going to affect Nedbank Wealth's involvement with the sport?
No, we definitely won't change our view with regards to developmental cycling, with regards to what we do around disadvantaged communities, with regards to what we do in the broader-based events. I mean, that our view will not, it will be untainted. I do think that we will have to seriously look at what our relationship is with regards to sponsoring either individual cyclists or teams.
Because, I mean, cycling is still, from a social point of view, and we've just seen it with races like the 94.7, the Argus Tour, and also obviously the Cape Epic. From a social point of view and just your general person that loves cycling, it is growing and growing year by year. So it would be unfortunate if someone of the caliber of Nedbank Wealth suddenly had to pull because of one individual, as you say, when there's just so many people that love cycling and love it as a sport, and don't care about the performance enhancing aspect of it. They just want to go out there and stay fit, enjoy cycling, and enjoy our country.
So, Darren, this is what I think is really sad about what has transpired, because it's sad for cycling, and it's sad for really I think sponsors who really want to get involved and make something. And it's a wonderful sport. It has a huge participation, but this sort of stuff frightens off sponsors. The only thing I would say is that I think one's got to be very careful, perhaps, to rule out cycling completely. But it hasn't been a great day.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot to absorb, and I'm sure that you guys are obviously going to be sitting down and reassessing, and maybe it will be a case of moving it into other areas of cycling, but not having Nedbank, as you say, in those areas that you still fully support. They will still be there, and maybe in other areas of cycling we would still see your involvement.
Look, I mean, we're very clear about our zero tolerance, and support as much as we can the South African Institute for Drug-Free Sport, and do whatever we can to assist with cleaning up the sport.
Well, thank you for your guys' involvement, not just from a cycling point of view, but I mean Nedbank involved in so many different sports as well. Thanks for supporting sport in South Africa, because without guys like you, who knows where we'd be as far as sport goes. So thank you very much, and thanks for your time this afternoon.
Thank you for that. All the best.
Pleasure, man. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks very much, Dave.
Dave
Macready.
You talk about that Evans guy gutted. He sounds gutted.
Terrible.
He sounds like he's just lost his entire overdraft, and he works for them.
Oh, shame. I mean, you can understand it must be devastating for a brand, though, when you align yourself with an athlete or a sport, and this comes out. I mean, it just sucks.
When was this?
This is Ballz Visual Radio. Darren, Simon, Kate, and John. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central African Time. Ballz.co.za